Even the monkey will be at the center of a protest this afternoon in Toronto. Yasmin Nakuda wants her monkey back and is worried her case will be adjourned tomorrow. Nick Wright is the Executive Director of Animal Justice Canada. He's speaking to us from our Toronto studio. So, Nick, talk to us about, because I'm not even sure what they are. What are the laws regarding monkeys as pet? Is it municipal, provincial, what?
Well, Amanda, in Toronto, we have bylaws that prohibit the keeping of non-human primates as a pet, along with a number of other exotic animals. And that bylaw, while it prohibits the keeping of a monkey, doesn't allow the city or any level of government to seize and forfeit the monkey. So the issue here is whether or not the owner gave up or surrendered Darwin, or whether the city has taken Darwin without that authority.
So wait, we're allowed cats and dogs, but not monkeys?
Correct. There's a number of animals that are prohibited as pets, many exotic, and the non-human primates are included in that list. So it is not permitted in Toronto, as in most Ontario municipalities. But the issue here is that while there's a fine for keeping non-human primates, there's not the authority at law to seize and forfeit such an animal. So the issue, as this matter goes to court, will hinge on whether or not the owner in fact surrendered Darwin, or whether Toronto Animal Services and the city took Darwin without the authority to do so.
Right, because the monkey managed to get out of a car that was parked in the parking lot of an Ikea, and then was running around the Ikea, or not running, but moving around the Ikea. So the big question, did Toronto have the legal right to take the monkey then?
Well, I think there's no question that in that circumstance they had the ability and right to take Darwin, as they can do. The issue is whether or not they then, upon the assurance that the monkey would be taken outside of the city of Toronto into a jurisdiction where monkeys are permitted, whether or not they had to do so, and whether or not the owner surrendered Darwin.
Now, the owner has suggested she's going to leave Toronto and go to Kawartha Lakes, where they allow monkeys, but the town has said it will be banning them. So I'm curious, is there anywhere in the province that allows having monkeys as pets?
Well, this is an unusual instance. It's not something that comes up frequently. So I'm not familiar with each municipality in the province. But I think it's important to remember that monkeys are prohibited as pets for a reason. It's because they're wild animals. They should be with other monkeys. Darwin has a mother and doesn't need a human as his mother. So it's important to keep that important point in context when considering some of these more technical elements of the court case.
You are the Executive Director of Animal Justice Canada, so I'm curious, how often do these kinds of cases come up all across the country?
Well, it is very unusual for an instance like this with a monkey. What's more common is when there's a dangerous dog. So, for example, in Ontario, pit bulls are prohibited. And frequently when someone is found to be in violation of the legislation prohibiting pit bulls, they'll remove the dog from Ontario into a different province that doesn't have that sort of prohibition, like Quebec. So it's not exactly the same. This is unusual because it's a monkey, which is an unusual exotic animal to have as a pet, but similar circumstances do arise in other contexts.
The owner is hoping that there won't be an adjournment in the case tomorrow. What do you think is likely to happen?
Well, it's quite possible. There's really no way to say. I just hope that in deciding the case, the court and the owner take into account what's best for Darwin, not who should have custody, not whose claim is greatest, but what's most important for Darwin. And it seems clear that no matter what happens, Darwin needs to be with other monkeys in a space where he can live his life expressing his natural tendencies.
Nick Wright, Executive Director of Animal Justice Canada. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Amanda.